ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer has more.
Witness described 4 different drugs that fell into these categories of being antipsychotic, antidepressants, or anti-anxiety. And for those groups of drugs, the witness said that they had slightly elevated levels, but nothing that was alarming. But for one drug, Seroquel, this witness said that it was double the amount that you would suspect, but still the amount of Seroquel within her system was not at a toxic or lethal level.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Weather sponsored by H&K Group Incorporated.
Some rain is still possible in some of the area this evening. Overnight, it's still going to be really warm, low 75. Tomorrow, a lot of humidity, thunderstorm possible in the area in the afternoon. Friday, high 90, possible flooding downpours in the afternoon, and we could have some gusty winds. Saturday, hot and humid again, high 90.
Start your new career with H&K Group Incorporated. H&K Group wants to offer you the opportunity to be part of the industry leader. 80 locations across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. Visit hkgroup.com and apply today. H&K does not discriminate.
How about a summer Friday down in Cape May, huh? It's Rich Zioli. I want you to join me at my happy place, which will be your happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey, Friday, August 7th, 3 to 6 p.m. Old school PM drive show. It's going to be a blast. We'll have fun. We'll hang out. That's Friday, August 7th, 3 to 6 p.m. at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. You don't want to miss this, so spend a summer Friday with us.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
When you want the best that there is, when you want the best in the entire biz, there's a name the stations call you sure to like. It's America's host, and his name is Mike.
Stunt brain, that is.
You've heard him before, and you'll hear him again. Everyone loves him when he hosts on 1210.
And how are you? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday. Yes, it's a Wellness Wednesday. Mike Opelka here with you on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I was having so much fun with Dom's show. I sincerely was, that I almost got caught up in all the fun I was having and missed the login to be here from the Freedom Bunker, the free speech bunker in the woods of North Wilmington, Delaware. So I'm happy to be here. Thrilled to be here once again. And I'm not here tomorrow, so we have to put 2 pounds of show into a 1 pound bag today, Matt DeSantis. I don't know about you, but it's going to be jammed. It's absolutely crammed. We have Lauren Fix, the car coach, is joining us an hour from right now. She's going to be here because we talked a little bit about flock cameras yesterday, and Lauren's got a lot to say because she's broken some news on that. Do we have Guy Shiraki at 5 o'clock?
That is confirmed. Guy is back.
Yay. I love me some Guy Shiraki. Coach Guy's going to be here at 5 o'clock. And there was a story that I sent to Gregory Stocker early this morning in my prep sheet, which you can usually see at pureopelka.com every day, probably for you people not in the biz. You can see it around 8 a.m., but it goes out to about 220 different influencers in radio and TV around the country. It goes out just before 6 a.m. And I sent it to Greg Stocker, and in the prep sheet, DeSantis, I'm sure you probably skipped over this because you're running like a crazy man, too. The question is, which country drinks the most tequila on the world stage? Who drinks the most tequila? And tequila comes from Mexico. Let's face it, it is a gift from Mexico. Maybe the greatest thing from Mexico. Now, if you asked me that maybe about 40 years ago, I would have had a different thing that I thought was the greatest thing to come out of Mexico. Yeah, you're probably thinking cheap tequila. No, it wasn't that. It was good tequila. Or cheap Kahlua, which also comes out of Mexico, or those crazy cheap chess sets you can buy just over the border. Carved chess sets or big sweaters. But Mexico makes the best tequila, and there's one country that drinks the most. Matthew, who do you think drinks the most tequila? If you didn't look at the article,
I did read the article, so I won't spoil it. I won't guess.
Well, Justin knows. Justin, do you know?
I do not know, actually.
It is all of us here in these United Snakes of America.
We did it.
We did. We do very well with the tequila consumption, and Canada does pretty well too. Canada's right up there. The Germans are up there. The Mexicans do well. There were stories that when I was a stripling living in Texas, and we used to venture down across the border into Mexico, and you'd visit some of the places that made the tequila. The people that worked there, they'd get a little bottle, not a quart bottle or a liter bottle. They'd get a little bottle every day as kind of a, hey, here's what you get from the company. And they'd bury it in the sand in the morning. And then they'd go out at lunch and they would drink the warm tequila during their lunch hour. Have you ever had hot tequila, DeSantis?
I'm not a tequila guy. I'm not a big drinker. Hot tequila sounds... I'm 100% out on that, I think. I don't even like the taste of it cold.
It sounded awful. Well, I have a good friend who is a foodie, superior foodie. He is the supermarket guru. His name is Phil Limpert. And Phil has been on the radio with me for decades now. Just every now and then we talk about food because he knows supermarkets inside out. He's got a food podcast that absolutely crushes it. He's also the Today Show expert in a lot of areas of food. And the food industry comes to him because when he says something is good, suddenly that stuff explodes. So Phil Limpert and his tequila brain are going to join us at 5:30 today. And I guarantee you, Phil will change your mind about tequila. And this is coming, you're talking to a guy who's currently in a dry period. I talked about it yesterday. I've been dry for 3 months now. But I do have some great tequilas. Phil taught me how to find the right tequila and how to drink it. You know, when you're in college, the first thing you're doing is throwing a shot glass and the salt and the lime and you're slapping it down. And after 4, you're invincible. And after 5, you're invisible. And after 6, you're usually in handcuffs on your way to some sort of a lockup. But Phil will change your life when it comes to tequila. So we're going to get a tequila education at 5:30 today, which I think is valuable, very valuable. There's one thing. Can you get into Nick Cale's locker or Greg Stocker's locker at the station, Matt?
I think they're locked, but I can try to break in during the commercial break. What do you need?
I want to see if there's a tequila bottle in either one of those guys' lockers. Stocker talked about his appreciation for tequila this morning. And if there is a bottle, I want you to look at the back of it because every tequila bottle has a number on it. And it's a really important number, and Phil Limpert will explain why. Plus, Phil, being the supermarket guru, is the voice I want to talk to about what Mamdani's doing with the supermarkets, with the government-run supermarkets, and what Phil Limpert thinks about it. I think it was about 10 years ago. Phil was on the show with me when we were on Saturday nights right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We were first on from 8 to 11, then 7 to 10. And Phil was the guy who told us that this Aldi company was coming here, and they were going to be a game changer in terms of supermarkets and what they were going to bring. And golly Bob howdy, a few years later, here we are, and Aldi is a player in the region. I'm not a big fan of the Aldi, but I know a lot of people. Dawn shops there. She talks about it all the time. I'm also freaked out by having to put the quarter in for the cart. I don't know if you know that. You probably never shop with a cart, just as you always just use a basket, right? The little hand basket.
Well, typically I'll go to Acme, and the Acme I frequent, they removed all the hand baskets because people stole them.
Now, I was going to say, they didn't remove them. People stole them during COVID.
Well, either way, they're removed. Whoever the culprit is, they're gone. We don't have them anymore. So I have to use a cart whether I like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it. Have you ever tried to take a cart out of the parking lot and have the wheels lock up on you?
It has happened to them. Yeah, like I think it was a Target. I had parked in a separate portion of the lot that I guess was connected to another store, and I had to drag this cart, which no longer had wheels, like 40 feet. It was unpleasant.
So you were trying to steal a cart for some reason for a party, or you're gonna turn it into a barbecue, which if you've ever been into the Bronx in New York. A grocery cart makes the perfect barbecue. You can put the coals in the basket, not the ones with the plastic covering on them, but the old just metal ones. They make a great barbecue. Then you put the screen on top, and you can put a pig on it, or you can put a rack of ribs. It works really well.
Thankfully, I don't see too many of the wheel locks on carts in the New Jersey area. I know it was a big thing in Massachusetts. That's where I got burned. They love to lock things up in Massachusetts.
Yes, they do, and it'd be great if they'd lock up some of the politicians. They have some of the worst. That governor, I have no idea where the hell they got the governor and the mayor of Boston at the same time. Both of those idiots should be locked up, but that's a subject for a different day. So 5:30 today, tequila education and a supermarket update from the supermarket guru. Coach Guy Shiraki joins us at 5. 4 o'clock is Lauren Fix, the car coach, and Dr. Michael Roizen. I teased you guys about it yesterday, and a few of you in the YouTube channel gave us some questions to talk to Dr. Roizen about, and we're going to ask him. I did not have time because I had to pre-record this at 6:30 this morning. That was the only time we could get him. I did not have time to ask him about Jim Penis, so I'm sorry. There will be no health discussion about Jim Penis today on the radio show. I'm sure that's making a lot of you tune out of the YouTube channel right now as we speak. The other big story locally, well, first of all, we're in this flood warning. I walked outside early this morning after talking to Roizen. I went outside to take the poodle for a walk, Winnie the poodle, and it was like a swamp. It was tropical. The air was solid. There was so much water in the air, and then we've had rains coming all day long, and we're under a flood warning till 5:15. And we walked for 20 minutes, not long at all. So, probably about a third of a mile. Not that, walking at a slow pace, just hanging out with the dog this morning. And I came back, and I had 5 mosquito bites on my legs. The mosquitoes are insane. Now, on my property, where we live, I have hung up these little containers that have a liquid in them that attracts the breeding mosquitoes. So they go in there and they can't get out. They go through the little entry area, and they smell some pheromone or something. They think they're going to get lucky, and they die when they're in there. And I've hung them up all around the place. It covers about an acre and a half. And so near the house, there are no mosquitoes. And I'm sure somebody's going to tell me that's wrong. I shouldn't do that. If you want to tell me why, 855-839-1210 is the number. I'll be happy to hear from you. But these little jars about this big with this magic elixir inside have cleared the mosquitoes from our property. But once I go outside and start walking down the streets in the communist socialist village where we live, the mosquitoes are everywhere, sucking the blood out of you. And I had 5 bites on both legs. It was absolutely crazy. So if anybody has a better idea on how to get rid of mosquitoes, I'm absolutely interested. 855-839-1210. Someone's going to tell me, "Oh, you're stealing the food from the birds." Really? Really? That's what you want to tell me? No.
The mosquito is the deadliest animal on the planet. I think it kills like 1 million people per year.
That's right. Malaria and dengue fever, I think, is transmitted by the mosquitoes. And I'm sure right now the Iranians are trying to put some kind of mosquito into Florida. They're probably sending them over in drones, dropping engineered mosquitoes in to try and hit all of us with it. If they're not trying to shut off the water like they tried here, and in, 16 other states had cyber attacks on their water supplies, gee, who do we think it is? Who do you think it is? It's a 4-letter country. No, not Utah. We know they're another country. If you've been there, you know. No, it's the Iranians. But I would not be surprised if people didn't try to put biological weapons inside mosquitoes and deliver them. Because, as DeSantis has said, it's the deadliest insect out there, killing so many people. That crazy story. But the other story, if you're not afraid of the floods today, the warning goes on until 5:15, by the way. We have to find out if anyone has run into the guy that does the One Bite Pizza review, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. Because I saw on the Inquirer website that Portnoy was in town yesterday. Yesterday he was doing One Bite Pizza reviews. And I'm just wondering if we know, do you have any details on that, DeSantis? Are there any info on which joints he went to?
I'm still trying to figure out which ones he hit. I know in the past he's gone to what I consider the big two in Philadelphia, which are Tacanelli's and Angelo's. So I'm curious what he ended up visiting during this trip. But I'll get a definitive answer before the end of the show. I promise.
I'm with you on Angelo's. I've not had a slice from Tacanelli's.
Oh, that's
you
great.
Say it's worth the time?
Yeah, I think Angelo's is the best. I think Tacanelli's is a close second, though.
Okay. Well, Portnoy's out there, hit 5 local joints. They said at least 5 local joints yesterday, and I'd like to see what those were and if he's posted any kind of ranking on them. Because who's not for a good slice of pizza? Truly one of the greatest foods this country offers. And if you don't agree with me, I will fight you. I will fight you maybe close to the death. And look at me. I don't look like I'm in a fight, ever. Not since my brothers and I grew up and left the house. No. So we'll talk. It's kind of a food and drink-centric show today. Yeah, we had the results from the primary battles around the country yesterday, the biggest one being Michigan. And it looks like the DSA candidates, the socialist candidates, the far-left Democrat candidates, they kind of split in whatever they were doing. That Al-Sayed cat in Michigan barely won that one. That was supposed to be a stomping for him, but it looks like he's won. And his opponent with the cartoon voice has already come out and said she's going to work with him. So we got to hope and pray that Mike Rogers gets it done in that state. Because, this guy wants to be the first Muslim senator in the United States Senate. And I heard a report yesterday, and maybe this could happen if Rogers wins and Al-Sayed is not the first Muslim senator. Who do you think would be the first Muslim senator in the country? Because there's already speculation on this, and I think this one makes sense. DeSantis, do you have an idea?
I have no clue. I couldn't even venture a guess.
What would you think if I told you a guy got tired of being mayor of New York City and decided he really belongs in the U.S. Senate?
I could see it, but I think it's going to take the full 4 years of his term. I don't think he's going to leave that mayoral position early.
The word is that it's not going to be AOC challenging challenging Schumer. It would be Mamdani challenging Schumer. Whatever it is, Schumer's not long for this political world. He's definitely a marked man because the progressives in the Democrat Party do not want him as their leader in the Senate anymore, currently the majority leader. They've already basically told him, you're done, Chuck. That's why he's sucking up to all of them. But what a crazy world it would be if Mamdani ran to be the senator that fills Chuck Schumer's seat. Meanwhile, what's AOC doing? She's either a vice presidential candidate or a presidential candidate, which would be just crazy. I know we're 90 days? 90 days from the primary elections and the midterm elections. We're 90 days from the midterms. So there's a whole lot of balls in the air, as it were, things we have to discuss before we get to the presidential elections, but there's a lot happening. So buckle up, go into the YouTube chat, like, subscribe, make pithy comments. We'll have Dr. Michael Roizen this hour, Lauren Fix next hour, Guy Shiraki, and a supermarket and tequila education coming up. As I said, it's 2 pounds a show in a 1 pound bag. It's Mike Opelka on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks, like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 267-223-7162 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 267-223-7162 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 267-223-7162 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 267-223-7162.
When it comes to avoiding roofing problems this summer, go with the real deal. Impriano Roofing, Siding, Windows, and Doors. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. One of the only roofing companies still run by the original family. They're the experts in the industry, no comparison. And Jack Impriano stands behind every job 100%. Experience, integrity, that's the real deal. Call 610-644-4444 for your free estimate today. The best homes have an Impriano roof.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Sometimes it feels like the news is full of things that have never happened before. And that is not exactly true. In fact, it may have happened this very week, hundreds or thousands of years ago. I'm Sally Helm, host of the podcast History This Week from the History Channel. Trade embargoes? Thomas Jefferson tried them. Rent too high? We've been arguing about that for a while. Each episode is proof. The past isn't that far away. Listen to History This Week, available now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
36 tech firms have created the Open Secure AI Alliance in a move that the firms say will safeguard software and agents in the age of artificial intelligence by developing and sharing open technologies and tools. NVIDIA, Cisco, and Salesforce are among the firms in the alliance, with NVIDIA saying in the announcement that cybersecurity is among the top 3 beneficiaries of open source software. I'm Jason Brooks.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Mike Opelka with you. Oh, my goodness. 3:30 and swampy. That's the weather forecast. Swampy. Is that the greatest Bond theme? Is that the best Bond theme for Live and Let Die? I think we did this one day where we asked the audience, what's the best Bond theme? You know who should do it, and I'm not going to tell a guy with a successful show, Mr. H here, Phil Almquist, should do one Saturday night just on Bond themes, because there were some incredible Bond songs. And Live and Let Die, one of my favorites, personally.
I've got one.
Yes?
I think You Know My Name from Casino Royale. Chris Cornell, that might be my favorite.
That's probably my second favorite. I think my favorite is Skyfall by Adele.
Adele, Adele she can melt polar ice caps. You know, she's just powerful. Who did the one you're talking about, DeSantis?
Chris Cornell.
Oh, my God.
We might have to do a Bond-themed power hour on Bumper Music.
That's a good idea. I have another one that I love. The movie's terrible, and I know I'm going to get grief for even suggesting it, but A View to a Kill. Duran Duran, that one's solid also.
No, that's a great song.
80s music.
But that was fantastic. You're absolutely right. And maybe Goldfinger is going to be the big winner overall.
Shirley Bassey.
Shirley freaking Bassey. Who, something like 50 years after she did it, they had her on it was either the Oscars or the BAFTA Awards, and she walked out and blew the roof off the joint. Just unbelievable. Great. And, you know, I'm not here tomorrow. And by the way, Zioli Friday from his happy place in Cape May, yes, he's going to be there. And you guys are going to be there. You're doing the whole show. This is an old school Friday, is it not?
Yeah, it's a throwback. Yeah, from the Grand Hotel in Cape May, I'll be there. Justin will be there. And, of course, Rich Zioli, the man himself, will be there broadcasting live.
Did you say throwback?
Throwback, yeah.
Because I had him, the note Zioli sent to me said it's going to be Throw Up Friday.
Oh.
Especially the final hours. Apparently, there might be some tequila shooters going on. I don't know. But it is old school Zioli summer Friday live remote at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, Rich's happy place. So you should be there if you can be there. I would love to. I don't think I can. I'm doing a big radio show for a guy named Vince on Friday. So it might keep me from getting down there in time. But you should, if I could get there, I would be there. And I told Zioli I was going to show up like a Bond villain on a jet ski and pull up in front. And he was like, come on, you got to do that. No, I can't. But the week after, next week, I will be here Tuesday through Friday. So you have me for 4 days. One of those days, Justin, let's do the Bond themes. And let's get the people, let the people speak and give us what they think is the greatest Bond film. Somebody's saying Carly Simon from The Spy Who Loved Me. Nobody does it better. They used to use that. The NFL used to use that for all those great slow-motion running back tributes to people like the late Walter Payton. So, yeah, there were so many great Bond theme films that we should. That's a great idea, Justin. Let's do that Next week, we'll do a Bond. Is there a new Bond coming out again, or are they still fighting over what's going to be transgender or something, an alien Bond? Or do we know?
Yeah, I think they're still trying to figure out who's going to play James Bond. The director of the next film is the guy who directed the Dune trilogy, and I don't believe they're going to focus on the next Bond until that trilogy is wrapped up. That releases in December, so we should know soon, I would think.
This is the thing that kills me about movies. It's forever before you get them, and then I'm tired of them. There's an interesting series on Apple TV called The Studio. If you want to know what Hollywood is really like, it's probably a little exaggerated, but from my personal experience, it's pretty close to reality, and it's cringeworthy, funny. It's called The Studio. If you have Apple TV, you might want to check it out. I think there's only like 6 or 8 episodes of it. Very well done series, but also infuriating. So there. News. We talked about some of the stuff going on with this cat winning in Michigan, this El Sayed guy. In my personal opinion, I don't know the man. I am not a voter in Michigan. I think he is a bad dude. I think he is an absolutely bad guy. And I say that because I think he is anti-Semitic. Anybody who would say the things he said is not a friend of the state of Israel or of the Jewish people here in America. And I think that it's a sad commentary on the Democrat Party that this guy's gotten through as far as he has. But here we are. That may be the best thing possible for the Republicans to maintain control of the Senate if Mike Rogers can, in fact, come out and win. Rogers ran last time for Senate, and he lost by a tiny amount. He lost by, I think, fewer votes than El Sayed won in that race. But here's the weird part. You've got establishment Democrats, currently elected Democrats, who think this guy is all right, who think this guy is not too far left. For example, Chris Van Hollen from Maryland. Now, remember, Van Hollen is the guy who thought Kilmore Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, was just a normal guy. And we know he was not a normal guy. But Chris Van Hollen has some interesting takes on Abdul El Sayed. Cut 4 if you got it.
You've heard the arguments he's too far left in a purple state. What do you say to that?
John, I think that's dead wrong. I think in this case, Abdul El Sayed has been the populist candidate among the Democrats, the anti-status quo candidate among the Democrats. And he understands that this is not so much left versus right as it is folks at the very top, the top 1%, rigging the economy and the rules of the game in a way that benefits them and hurts workers and everybody else.
So Van Hollen thinks this is a rich versus regular argument. Well, he seems to forget that El Sayed is he has a medical degree. I don't know if I would call him a doctor, but I believe he made more than his combined household income was in excess of $700,000 last year, which is a lot more than the average Michigander was making. And then there's Democrat Rep. Ro Khanna from California, the guy who could flip-flop on any topic. We saw this guy come out in support of Graham Plattner, the nipple Nazi. And then he suddenly was against Plattner after there was, I guess, a third or fourth woman came forward to say there was abuse. Ro Khanna, he's hoping that El Sayed's gonna push that socialist agenda for health care.
Or do you think he'll stick to what he's been writing on the campaign trail?
Well, he's going to stick to Medicare for all. I mean, he's a doctor. He wrote a book about it. And to me, that was actually the central issue that's winning this race for him. I know there's a lot of attention on the other issues, but when I campaigned with him across the state of Michigan, people were saying, look, Trump cut $1 trillion from Medicaid. Our premiums are going up. Why can't we have free universal health care in a country that's producing more wealth than ever before.
Do you really think people say Trump cut $1 trillion from health care when they run up to people at campaign appearances? No, they don't. But I will tell you, Medicare for all sounds good. Free health care sounds good until you get free health care. We should all point to Canada. You want to see what free health care is? Canada kills more of its own citizens via euthanasia, via assisted suicide, than they kill dogs in shelters. I mean, it's really hard to even say that. But that's the reality. People in Canada are waiting so long for health care. They either come here or they take the pill that's offered to them. And then there's Bernie Sanders, who, it's just time and again we're given the evidence from Bernie that he will flip and go wherever the power will be available to him. Bernie talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's uncomfortable with El Sayed's closeness to Hassan Piker, but, I might be able to make amends with it.
Let me ask you about one of those campaign events, because just last night, the popular but very controversial streamer Hassan Piker was at one of El Sayed's final events. The two did a stream together, a fairly lengthy stream. I know that you've spoken to Hassan Piker in the past, but are you comfortable with El Sayed having a close association with him, given some of his past statements? To give you an example, one of the more controversial ones is that Piker has said America deserved 9/11. Are you comfortable with that association?
No, I am not. I think that's a dumb statement. On the other hand, he has a whole lot of followers, and there's a lot of things that he's saying that are making sense to a lot of people. I think, we have to get above cancel culture. When you're doing radio, whatever they do, podcasts 3 hours a day, you say dumb things. I suspect if you go back over your career, there may be one or two things that you said that you may have regretted. But I think what we have got to do is look at the totality of where people are coming from and go forward.
So a couple of things there. Talking to Abby Phillip on CNN, Bernie Sanders says, if you look at the totality of your career, you may have said one or two things. Bernie, if you look at a week of Abby Phillip, she said dumb things. One or two a night. Yeah. Scott Jennings points it out on an almost regular basis. But Bernie willing to excuse at the very beginning of his statement, he said it's one dumb statement, but he then said, but he's got a lot of followers. Bernie basically saying, sure, he says things that are dumb. Sure, he says things. He's anti-Semitic. But, he's got a lot of friends, for God's sakes. It is despicable. There's one Democrat, at least the only one I've seen consistently, calling out this guy, Abdul El Sayed. And that is the guy who seems to have his brain rewiring to this day, John Fetterman. Fetterman is the one guy who's absolutely telling the truth these days. And I wonder if it's because after the stroke, his brain won't let him tell any lies. It's kind of cool if that happened. It's kind of rare that happened. Fetterman was on CNN talking about the topic of El Sayed and his unacceptable views.
Hold that seat.
So you think he could lose to Mike Rogers?
Oh, 100% that's possible, without a doubt. I mean, the polling seems to indicate that it is in danger.
So how should members of your party, the Democratic Party, come together to defeat the Republican candidate?
Yeah, well, I can't come together with someone if you are willing to embrace people that loves Hamas or that thinks America deserved 9/11. I think that's reasonable, and I think that's the reasonable view. Being able to kind of be like, well, maybe and try to ignore those things. That's not a big tent situation. There are things that are unacceptable to have these views as a Democrat, I think. He's right.
If you cannot accept America was attacked on September 11th, if you're telling people, we might have deserved it. No, you're not allowed in the big tent. Not even close to it. It is amazing to me that no one else has stepped up and said that. But it goes back to what Sonny Hostin said on The View about 2 months ago. We just need to get some power, and that's what they're all about. And El Sayed, in his one of his comments today, talked about what he's going to do. He talked about making sure that we fight Donald Trump, and they want to get rid of Trump. It's not about policies. It's about getting rid of the most transformative president in my lifetime. And they're laser focused on it. If they get the House and the Senate, Trump will be impeached. If they get the House, he'll be impeached. If they get the House and the Senate, he might be removed. It is a very real prospect. We will see. Also on CNN, Fetterman talking about the Pennsylvania state primary, which we'll probably talk with Guy Shiraki about this a little bit at 5 o'clock today. If the Pennsylvania Senate primary would be held today, do you think John Fetterman believes he would win?
As you like to call it, of Pennsylvania. Do you believe you would win? If there was a Democratic primary in Pennsylvania.
Like today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's we don't know exactly, but overall it's 2026, so it's really kind of a theoretic.
It is a hypothetical question.
I mean,
but I asked the question because you told my colleague Manu Raju last month, you probably remember, that you would leave the Democratic Party if it adopts an anti-Israel policy, calling it your red line. What exactly does that look like, and at what point will you make that decision to potentially leave your own Democratic Party?
Well, I've said this. If the Democratic Party adds that into the platform, if they say we become a party that will never vote for aid for Israel, or if we will define Israel as the aggressor, or that's the problem in the region, so then that would force me to reconsider that.
I wonder if the party would be nuts enough to actually put it in the platform that they would denounce Israel, or they would actually talk about cutting off all aid to Israel, the only democracy, the actual only democracy in the Middle East. If the Democrats would be dumb enough to do that. And how many others would follow in Fetterman's footsteps if that were the case? Interesting, I think it was last night, Laura Ingraham on her show invited John Fetterman to maybe possibly switch parties. I think you guys have that clip, right?
It's going to happen unless the sensible Democrats do more than appear on podcasts, cable shows, and they start just standing for sanity. So instead of fighting with the type of people who watch the Ingraham angle, Carville and other Democrats who oppose socialism should join our effort to turn the GOP into a party that is rebuilding the American middle class. Turn to us. The question is, how many more are there like them in the Democrat Party who will join to defeat this scourge?
That's a very interesting question. So, yeah, she invited Carville and any other Democrat who's not crazy, bat crap crazy, to jump in and come into the GOP. The tent in the GOP has gotten bigger. It used to be a lot smaller. And the Democrats are saying they're the big tent people. I'm not so sure about that these days. Or the tent's so big you don't know who's in there. There's a lot to unpack after last night. We're going to keep our eyes on all of that. I need to take a break here, and we'll wrap up this hour. Yesterday we played an announcement on this radio station. I think we've been playing it for a while about the 25th anniversary of September 11th coming up this fall. And it invites anyone who has a memory to be part of what we're trying to make sure no one ever forgets, the terror attack on America that took basically 3,000 lives. I read something today about Ground Zero and the memorial there. And I don't know if you guys have ever been there. DeSantis, have you been to Ground Zero, to the two markers of where the tower stood?
I have, yes.
You have, and you've seen the names carved along those walls that over the pools.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice the white flowers that are stuffed into some of the names? There's a single white rose.
No, I don't recall.
Every single day, there are white roses put into some of the names along the walls that memorialize the nearly 3,000 lives that were taken on that day. The story behind it is remarkable. I just learned this today, and this is almost 25 years after the horrible tragedy. It's a story that needs to be told. I'll share it with you. 855-839-1210 is our number. It's Mike Opelka. This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Summer's winding down, and now's the perfect time to get your home organized before fall arrives. Whether it's the master closet, garage, pantry, home office, or mudroom, Closet Factory Philadelphia designs custom storage solutions built around the way you live. A more organized home means less clutter, less stress, and more time enjoying what matters most. This August, make organization your next home improvement project. Visit closetfactory.com today and schedule your free in-home design consultation. Closet Factory Philadelphia, custom organization designed for your life.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
It is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Mike Opelka with you on this fabulous Wednesday. Fabulous if you're inside with good air conditioning. Outside, it's a swamp. Let's face it. I hope it breaks for the weekend because I definitely have golf plans for the weekend. Checking in on the YouTube chat. Thanks to everybody who's in there. Very accurate discussion over what the heck's going on with our oil prices. Look, the stock market's been crushing it for the past couple of days because it looks like there may be a deal of some sort, and the price of oil has dropped precipitously. That's your SAT word of the hour, DeSantis. You can put that down. The market's up another $378 now as we're about to wrap up today's trading. And oil kind of flat today, but it's been dropping, and we're all thinking, okay, if oil's down, why isn't the price of gas down? And somebody asked a question in the YouTube chat about refining. We have not built a new refinery in this country in, I believe, more than 30 years. It's one of the things I used to hear Rush Limbaugh talking about all the time, that the environmental wackos prevented us from building new refineries. And I'm sure the refinery technology has improved over the last 100 years. So maybe we can find a way to do it without creating these environmental disasters like we see here and in nearby Delaware. So maybe we can put some new refinery technology into use and generate more stuff that's refined here so we don't have to pay a fortune to ship it all over the world to get the product here. That's one of the things I think Donald Trump will work to change if he is not saving his butt from impeachment during the rest of this second term. We shall see. I mentioned the September 11th anniversary coming up, and it's kind of amazing to think that it is going to be 25 years since the attack on this country that took almost 3,000 lives. It is absolutely stunning to me to think that a quarter of a century will have passed. And if you have a memory, you can obviously share it because we are putting together a production to talk about that. I was 1.1 miles away from the World Trade Center broadcasting a morning show at that time. And when the first plane hit, the transmitter was operating on that tower, our transmitter. We were the only FM radio station, and the signal went out for a second, and we shifted to the backup transmitter. We didn't know that had happened. We thought the engineers were doing maintenance, and they had just shifted over, and it didn't make sense to do it on a Tuesday morning. So we took a break and looked outside and saw the plane sticking out of the building and the smoke pouring out. We knew that it was either a horrible accident or worse, and we found out worse. At the end of that day, obviously, we knew the story, and so much had changed. And everybody's life had changed, and now it seems like people have forgotten about it. Well, 13 years ago, there was a guy who decided that we can't forget about this. And he took it upon himself to provide white roses every single day to be put on the names of the people memorialized at the Ground Zero tribute. It's a powerful tribute. If you stood there and heard the rushing water sounds, and you know what the heck they are covering up the tears and the cries from the people who perished there. And the story of this guy, they call him Mikey Flowers. He realized that the people who are memorialized on that wall, there's probably a birthday or two every day out of 3,000 people. He's right. At least one every day. Some days 6, some days 5. One day there are 17 birthdays that don't get celebrated. So Mikey Flowers owns a Floratech flower shop on Beach Street for 30 years, supplying blooms for all over the area. But now, since 2013, putting a white rose in the name of each victim on their birthday. phenomenal. Beautiful, beautiful tradition. And the people that work at the memorial, they actually look up the names of the birthdays. When the flowers get delivered, they go out and put them in their names, which are carved into the wall. Kind of amazing. Let's hope people don't forget. Let's hope the memory continues, but we have to teach the people behind us. I think, DeSantis, what were you, 8 or 9 when September 11th happened?
Yeah, I was just a little kid. I do remember it, though. I remember being in school when it occurred. I was actually, I think I was in we were in a classroom, and I remember that the teacher wheeled out a TV with a VCR or a DVD player, and we were supposed to be watching a movie or something educational. It wasn't a movie, but anyway, she turned the TV on, and we saw the live broadcast of what was happening in New York, and that was the first time I had heard of it.
We seem to have forgotten. Justin was 3, so I wouldn't expect you to have any conscious memory of it, but I'm glad that somebody like Mikey Flowers, Michael Coloroni, is the guy who makes sure those white roses get there. And the one day with the most birthdays not being celebrated, Valentine's Day. Wow. All right, wrapping up this first hour. When we come back, our friend Lauren Fix, the car coach, joins us. We're going to get a little more info about flock cameras, probably more than you care to know about, but you need to. It's Opelka on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
The Bloomberg Market Minute, sponsored by Piazza Auto Group. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. CVS Health seems to be making progress on turning around its health insurance business. It's faced challenges in recent years after premiums didn't keep up with rising medical costs in some plans. The healthcare company and retailer raised its profit outlook for the year, driven by better than expected medical costs in its Aetna insurance business. CVS also announced that it's lowering the price for virtual weight management visits to $29 from $49. No more free rides at one robo-taxi company. Amazon-owned Zoox, the robo-taxi service in Las Vegas, will start charging fares next week in Sin City, a first for a self-driving vehicle that has no steering wheel or brakes or gas pedals. Just last month, federal regulators gave Zoox the okay to deploy up to 5,000 of its robo-taxis on U.S. roads over the next 2 years. As we approach the closing bell, stocks are mixed on Wall Street. The Dow is up 0.75%, the Nasdaq down 0.5%, the S&P is flat. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
When you need them, your local volunteer fire department routinely answers the call. Whether it be a fire, traffic accident, or a cat stuck in a tree, there is always someone there for you. However, because of declines in memberships, departments are becoming understaffed and struggling. Here's how you can help your neighbors and your community. No matter what skills you may possess, you can make a difference. Your local volunteer fire department desperately needs your help. Can you direct traffic, install a smoke alarm, help at fundraisers? Your community needs you. You don't have to fight fire to be a volunteer. Will you make that difference? Will you answer the call? Brought to you by the National Volunteer Firefighter Recruitment Center, a program service of the Volunteer Firefighter Alliance. For more information on how you can help and make a difference, visit www.nvfrc.org. That's www.nvfrc.org.
For 30 years, nothing controlled my high blood pressure. My doctor, he even said, this is crazy. You're a ticking time bomb.
I was doing research in the field of renal denervation. I brought the procedure to Virtua.
I said, sign me up.
His blood pressure went down significantly.
I was playing hockey again in 3 weeks. It's wonderful, actually.
Virtua Health. Solutions for complex heart conditions. Here for good. Learn more at virtua.org.
The Birds are back, and another championship run starts now. Don't just watch the season. Be part of it. Hit the road with thousands of fellow fans and take over the opposing stadium. Fans of Philly has road trips available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, London, and more. Every trip includes airfare, game tickets, and an exclusive pregame party. Book your seat today with the official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network at fansofphilly.com. That's fanswithap.com.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and the chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
He's the voice that cuts right through. Truth is hard, wild and true. Turn it up, feel that sound. Mike Opelka's in your town. Mike Opelka on WPHT. Rockin' Philly talk loud and free. Keep it locked, don't touch that dial. WPHT. Mike Opelka
To it. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Mike Opelka with you. 4:08 on this Wednesday. Lauren Fix will be here in just a couple of minutes, or maybe less than that. I have a lot to talk to her about. We talked last hour about the election, the primary election in Michigan. Michigan, a swing state, probably still a swing state, and this Senate race that now is going to feature Abdul El Sayed against Mike Rogers. Could there be any clearer delineation between the two candidates based on their names? One is a far leftist, the other a good Republican. I think Mike Rogers is a solid candidate. El Sayed has challenged Rogers to 5 debates, but the interesting thing is the language that El Sayed is using. He's a very, very skilled campaigner already. And you probably say, I've never heard of the guy. He's been around politics in Michigan for a while. But he comes out and warns Mike Rogers, saying, I'm going to make sure Michiganders know about your crimes, that you will wither in front of them when they hear about your crimes. He's already calling the guy a criminal. So Rogers has to defend himself without being credibly accused of anything. He just labeled him a criminal and a carpetbagger, saying we're going to send you back to Florida where you belong. This guy is a skilled candidate. Never mind the people who are telling you that he's going to have a 10-point victory Rogers will have. This is not going to be an easy win for the GOP. And the left is unified. How do I know this? When you look at the final vote counts on this, it was really close. It was a 15,000 vote differential. And I kept thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, DeSantis, aren't these elections, especially in states like Michigan where you have a whole lot of Democrats, don't we always have a whole bunch of mail-in ballots? Or they're always saying, hold on, we gotta count all the mail-in ballots, all the ballots that were dropped off at the boxes. All of this was done basically this morning. It got done just like we want, Election Day. And it was that close. There's no challenge from the cartoon voice lady who lost.
Yeah, if I was Haley Stevens, I would definitely want clarity, I think.
She's been told to step right in line. It was very interesting. And just to let you know how aggressive El Sayed is, he kind of went after Fetterman a little bit, because we're talking about how John Fetterman has been standing up to these people. I think you guys have the clip of Fetterman reacting to El Sayed insulting him.
Are you willing to unify with Abdul El Sayed, for example, who's now the Democratic nominee, the Democratic candidate?
Oh, well, yeah, the tough guy. He called me ugly and then I should be on a pike. And I'm like, Chief, I own mirrors. I know I'm an ugly guy. But if you want to put me on a pike, I mean, he has like a little man syndrome kind of energy. And now he was really arrogant in that race. And now he have just found out that, less than a majority of Democrats want him. And he has a serious responsibility between now and November to hold that seat.
So you think he could lose to Mike Rogers?
Oh, 100% that's possible, without a doubt. I mean, the polling seems to indicate that it is in danger.
So we'll see what happens on that. We'll follow that up. I did like the point in that discussion where Fetterman responds to El Sayed and goes, Chief. He calls him Chief, which is a great insult. Hey, Chief, what do you think? All right, I understand she's here. Our friend Lauren Fix is the car coach. She has her own YouTube channel with great stuff, Car Coach Reports. She gets to review new cars, but Lauren is also the person who has been looking at some of the technology in the automotive world and analyzing whether or not it's valuable for us or it's infringing on parts of our life. One of those technologies is the flock camera system, which is ubiquitous at this point. It's all over the country. It's collecting data on people as they drive and data that you're probably not even aware of. And what it's doing is really stunning. So let's get her in here, our friend Lauren Fix, the car coach. Thanks for making time, Lauren. Appreciate you joining us.
No problem. I was just reviewing a Toyota CHR, but you have a lot to discuss, so I'll let you ask away.
Wait a minute. A new Toyota CHR? Is that the downsized version of what's the one that Dawn's husband drives?
It was gas. It's now electric. It's essentially a Prius upgraded. It's a compact crossover, essentially. It's very similar
but they
Prius.
Still offer. They're not falling to the electric vehicle wave, are they? Still got choices on gas engines.
Hybrid. Yeah, I think they had started this vehicle out a while ago, much like the BZ, which I've also reviewed. But I think what ends up happening is that they had to do it in order to make people stop nagging and bothering them. A friend of mine is a senior executive there, and I get some inside information. But the truth is they're going to produce them. If people want them, they'll make them. And they start at about $38,000. So they're not too bad if you want an electric car. Some people do. And you should be able to buy one. And if you're going to buy one, certainly consider a Toyota because of the reliability, and you know that you'll get some resale out of it.
It's a good point. Excellent point. Well, Lauren she has the job I covet, to be able to drive all the new cars and express your opinion on them. But some of those, every now and then you have to drive a dog, don't you? So they're not all wonderful.
Yes. No. Now, when I do get the Aston Martins and, and the Ferraris, and okay, I'm good. But, the truth is the bulk of the people don't buy cars like that. They buy the Camrys and the Hyundai, Santa Fe's and things like that. So I do a lot of that also. And that's on Car Smarts, which is on YouTube. And if you want to see everything I do, just go to carcoachreports.com, including our radio show. It's good stuff.
Lauren, you and I have talked about the invasion of privacy that's happened in our cars on us. And we talked about the kill switch, which sadly it appears that we're not going to be able to kill the kill switch this year or maybe even in the future. So cars branded...
Possible, but unlikely.
Yeah, so cars 2027 model years and going forward will have this technology where theoretically, if you're driving erratically, your car could be slowed down and stopped as you're driving it to prevent you from harming yourself, I guess, or others.
Well, the thing is, it was supposed to be 2026. The technology isn't there. Every brand is creating their own little patent. And the result of it is that by November 5th of 2027, this must be in place. So that would be 2028 model years by then. Okay. So right now, anything that's coming in that's 27, you're probably okay. You will see nannies. I'll tell you, I had a Lexus, and I'm one of those people that like to break the rules, shall we say. So on every steering column, there's a little area here that's got eyes. It keeps your eyes on you, and also your rearview mirror and everything else. So I have to play with these things. I don't put them on camera because I get yelled at by the brands, but I put some tape over on top of the monitor for your eyes. Oh, it didn't like that at all. It was, sit up, we can't see your eyes. Sit up, we can't see the driver. Driver attention monitoring disabled.
Wait a minute.
Yes, it is monitoring.
The car tells you we can't see your eyes. Does it prevent you from driving?
No, but it just keeps annoying you. Notification. And of course, some people have said on my YouTube channel, we'll just pull the fuse. Yeah, the problem is that fuse, it also does important things like the speedometer and the center screen. They tie it in so that if you try to, go around it, much like, start-stop technology, that it's tied into something else that would make it very frustrating or unable to drive the vehicle.
Yeah, it used to be in the late 70s, early 80s. I'm showing my age here. When they came out with the beeping seatbelt sensor in cars, you used to be able to reach under the seat and just unplug the wire, and it would stop. It wouldn't annoy you. And so they've now made it so that other things are tied to that. I read a story and actually watched a video of a woman who got a rental car, a loaner from an Audi dealer, and it had not just the camera monitoring your eyes, it had a box that was basically a camera and microphones watching her and listening to her. And she was very upset about this.
That's a rental, though. Okay. Remember, it's a rental. So this is not the car that she's buying at the dealer. And the box is quite large and in your face.
Yeah.
So if it's a rental, the rental car companies have every right to protect their vehicles. You are borrowing the vehicle. So what they're doing is they're now tracking everything. Now, her situation in that particular one, I did see that. She was a nurse. And so she was talking about people's private medical information. She said because of HIPAA, she couldn't have any conversations in the car. So if someone called her with an emergency, she'd literally have to step outside the car in order to have the conversation, because otherwise, who's listening to the other end of the camera? Is it live? We don't know. Is it taped? We don't know. She just knows that somebody else is listening, and she could get fired or sued for that. So, why take that risk? But then that could be true with a lawyer. That could be true with a business person, a financial person. You all have these privacies, plus your own personal privacies. And this is what they already have in Europe. As of July 3rd of this year, every car in Europe has a camera like that built in. It is required by law, thanks to the EU, the unelected people that were put in place. I'm sure you've discussed that in the past.
Sure.
But those unelected people have mandated, and they buried it in with other safety features. Well, we want to make it safer for pedestrians and safer for children. It's always about safety, and safer for animals and safer on the roadways. So we added a camera, and safer for, like glaze right over that.
So if I rent a car in Europe now, if I go over to Europe to spend a week or two and I rent a car, I'm going to have a camera watching me and listening to me and monitoring everything inside the car.
And it's not just you. It's the person in the passenger seat, the second row, the third row, your dog, your kids, everybody. Listening and watching. Required by law. They are not allowed to sell any vehicles after July 3rd that did not have these cameras pointed at the driver. That is their law. Don't you think that law is coming here? Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, sure it will, because we got a bunch of people here who just adore the EU, and they think that's the way to go. The nanny state's the way to go. Now, Lauren, you had a story.
Were you just talking about that in the previous segment? You were talking about what's going on in Michigan and everything. Everything you've been talking about today just ties together. It's just layers of an onion just to decide how deep you're going.
Yeah, sometimes I have to stop peeling because the tears are coming. It's not from the onion. It's from what they're doing. Lauren, about a week ago, you sent me a story, and I wasn't here, so I held off on getting hold of you. But I think this is a really important story because of the layers. I'm going to go flip right back to the mention you made about peeling layers. You talked about not just the flock cameras, but the cameras that are being put on school bus arms, the ones that go out when a car stops. What exactly is happening with the information and video from those cameras on the school bus arms? And how big is it? How many buses have this to this point?
About 400,000 of them.
Wait,
something like that across almost every school district has it. So here's what the deal is. Let me just give you let me connect the dots, as I said, and I did connect the dots in last week's video and the video that went out last night on light post surveillance. So all of this ties together. So first you think, oh, kill switches. Well, that doesn't tie to anything else. Well, in that same infrastructure bill, there was money to fund all these flock cameras, connecting the dot. Interesting. I do remember, and it's funny, I was watching some podcast and somebody was talking about, they ran like a clip from Joe Biden saying, I'm going to make the streets and the roads and everything safer. And you hear they just like, oh, yada, yada, we heard it. Then I'm thinking, oh my God, it was in the infrastructure bill. So I went back and I found it. All that funding for all these cameras that put flock into business and big time funded Axon and all the other ones make something that would remind you of the movie Terminator. Do you remember Skynet? If you saw the movie, if you should, you need to see Terminator. Skynet was the one that controlled everything. And guess what? Here we are again. This is all connecting. So the kill switches, how do you make this work? We need data. How do we get data? All this from the infrastructure bill. Data collected from flock cameras being installed literally in unsafe places that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration should not let be placed where they are, because the pole can go through someone's car and kill them, which is why typically those poles are on the other side of the guardrails, but they're not. Then, okay, you don't want those. We've got Axon, who is partnering with a company called, it's almost like what you just said earlier. It's like not Ubiquitol. You just said it. It's something. It's very close to the supplement. It's Ubiquia. It is the name of the company that partnered with Axon, who does all the
they do the body cams. Yeah, they're the body
cameras
cam
and the
company.
tasers.
Yep.
Yeah, big company. And guess what? They partnered with the company to create a product called Light Post. So now the 450 million light posts that are all over the country are now going to have a little arm hanging down, powered by the light post. No permitting, no nothing. You won't even see them. Do you look up at the light posts? No, they're too high. You can't look and drive. You'll kill yourself or someone else. So now you're not even going to see it. And then they put them on all the school buses. And so the school buses were designed for, again, we're back to the word safety, which seems to be the trigger word, that when a bus stops and you put your child on the bus, the arm goes out, you wait, kitty corner from the bus until the child gets on or crosses the street, and then the arm folds in and you go. Now, if you're dumb enough to pass a school bus, you're going to get a ticket because it takes a picture of the car. Well, now they have them running all the time. They're not just running when the bus is stopped. They're running all the time. So they see you in your robe with your cup of coffee, putting your kid on the bus, waving goodbye, all of that, everything in your garage, your home, everything they scan continually and constantly. School buses go everywhere. Well, that's not enough. There are quite a few cities that have made a partnership with Flock to put them on garbage trucks. because they stop at every house. And they're claiming that they're doing this to see if you have any city violations or ordinance violations. Sure. And I'm the Queen of England. You can call me Liz. Because that's
Your
all a
Majesty,
line of.
Your Majesty,
it's a line of, you know what?
It
gets worse. Worse, it's on every FedEx truck. FedEx made a deal with flock cameras that they have every single FedEx truck in the country has a flock camera on it.
Lauren, who
These are
controls
all the rural areas
who
deliver your packages? How perfect.
But who controls the data? Flock has all the data coming in from the flock cameras. Now the 450 million light post cameras, the school bus cameras, the FedEx trucks. I'm assuming the trash trucks
Garbage
and UPS
trucks.
is
Yep.
next. Who decides?
Hey, it's about money.
Well, who gets access to that data? Can anybody, any company come into Flock and say, we'd like to buy? Can insurance companies come in and say, we need to know how many of our customers are speeding night and day?
Yeah, they can. So insurance companies can access it, police departments, any of the three-letter agencies that want access to it. It's supposed to be there for 30 days. There's no proof that it ever gets deleted. In addition to that, a lot of police officers have used it to track down exes and girls that they're interested in, or ex-husbands and whoever they're hanging out with. So that has been, there's been quite a few people have gotten fired out of the state of Georgia. The police officers, supposed to be doing their job. And don't worry, if you think this is going to get worse, it is already, because Flock said, hold my beer to Axon. We now have Flock Alpha. What is Flock Alpha? It's drones. I cover that in last night's video on, like I said, light posts and the Fourth Amendment, or your Fourth Amendment rights. So here's the thing. This is a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. There was a gentleman who was a lawyer out of South Carolina who found 4 specific law cases that make it so that Flock cannot collect your data without having a warrant. And guess what? They're not. So the law moves slowly, unfortunately, sort of like molasses in winter. But apparently it is if you got a case against you, you can definitely take it up in court. And I do cover all the court cases in my video. But I will tell you, it's really important that this gets removed. Now, I know Thomas Massey, I know he's coming to the end of his term. He's been trying to fight any city or state or municipality that takes this money, would be stripped of all their Fed money. But I don't know if that's going to happen, especially because we're getting into the midterms and he's going to be gone. Like, who's going to pick up this, and run with it? So I'm not saying I'm a big fan of this. I have no idea, but you know more people than I do. I only know the automotive world. You know the political world. Somebody's got to pick up this ball and run with it and take it to the finish line. Chip Roy was in on it too. He's coming to the end. So I don't know who's going to do this, but we definitely need someone like a Brandon Gill, someone who's definitely going to stand up and fight for us. Because right now, you can take it to court individually and say you can't track my information, but that's only if you've got a case against you. You can't just make a claim without having a case against you. But DFLOC, again, is a place you can go to find the cameras, DEFLOCK.org. I check it all the time. In the little town that I live in, there is no cameras because we will not take the money. But what's interesting is the politicians can say, hey, we have fireworks this year and a parade and all these fun events that we couldn't afford, but we have funding from the federal government because we put these cameras in for our safety. You need to reelect me because I made our streets safer. Not necessarily true, but it sounds like a great way to get reelected. And that's the story they're using because the lobbyists know how to manipulate these people.
It's scary stuff. It is your life. And I know people say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the problem? No, you don't want this. The Fourth Amendment is there to protect you against unreasonable search and seizure. You need to make sure, I hope we get somebody back in Congress. I don't care if it's a Democrat. Somebody who wants to stand up for privacy. It would be a good thing.
It could be AOC for all I care.
No,
Someone's
not
got to
that.
protect us.
No, she's busy running
Listen,
for
I don't
president.
care who it is. We need people to stand up for us. And
Lauren,
nobody is.
I'm up against the clock here, but thank you. DFLOCK.org, DEFLOCK.org to find out more about getting rid of the flock cameras. I'm all for stopping people from passing school buses. I don't like the idea of a surveillance state being built upon this fear porn that they're pitching to us.
Yeah.
Lauren Fix has great car reviews, great technology in car reviews, and she's just a lot of fun as well. My friend, thank you for always making time for us.
Always, Mike. Thanks.
Thank you. And there she goes. And I have to go, too. You know who's just around the corner? Dr. Roizen, my buddy, Dr. Michael Roizen. He He spent some time with me early this morning talking about some of the things that we discussed yesterday, and I asked your questions of Dr. Roizen as well. So can you eat the carnivore diet and be healthier, etc.? Can you eat like RFK Jr.? I'm not talking about roadkill. We'll get into that just around the corner. It's Opelka on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-329-1010. That's 1-800-329-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-329-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
3 dozen tech firms have created the Open Secure AI Alliance in a move that the firms say will safeguard software and agents in the age of artificial intelligence by developing and sharing open technologies and tools. NVIDIA, Cisco, and Salesforce are among the firms in the alliance, with NVIDIA saying in the announcement that cybersecurity is among the top 3 beneficiaries of open source software. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
It is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Mike Opelka with you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I just spent some time perusing the comments in the YouTube chat. You guys are crushing it today. And a lot of interesting commentary on what we were talking about with Lauren Fix, the car coach, about all these cars that are watching you. And somebody asked the question, are there any companies that will disable these systems? No. And I think there's probably laws against it, or you might void your warranty. My car is a 2024, and I got it to prevent getting the kill switch, but it's monitoring me as well. And there are cars that are as old as 8 or 10 years old that are already looking at your eyes. So I think it's only going to get worse unless we, the people, start buying old cars and old cars with manual transmissions because they're harder to steal. I promised you yesterday I would get a hold of Dr. Michael Roizen of the Cleveland Clinic, and it is a Wellness Wednesday. I love Wellness Wednesdays. I talked to Dr. Roizen early this morning, and we went over some of the latest trends in health and medicine. That's what I do every week with Dr. Roizen. He's with the Cleveland Clinic. He's also with a website called 4youngevity.com, the number 4, youngevity.com. And it's all about learning how to make yourself healthier, to live longer but live younger. Really important. Dr. Roizen, I'm glad you're here. We were talking yesterday about your arrival, and many people were asking about the carnivore diet. I'm asking about the living diet, which is out there where you eat a lot of meat. And so I'm wondering, is it smart, before we get into your research, smart to be on the carnivore diet or the living diet?
I don't know a lot about the living diet. What we do know is that red meat plus saturated fat, which is what you get with steak or red meat and eggs, changes the bacteria in your gut. That is, you don't change the bacteria, you change which of their genes are on. So we have genes in humans, and roughly 22,500 of them, and we have switches that control them. Those switches get turned on or off by, among other things, stress and food choices, etc. Well, similarly, the bacteria, they're simpler, but they have genes as well that get turned on by the food choices we eat, just as we do. And the food choices change which of the genes of the bacteria are on to produce an inflammatory mediator in 80% of us called trimethylamine. Roughly 80% of us have bacteria inside our guts that do this, and that those trimethylamine cause a major inflammation in us. Let me repeat that. So by eating food that contains saturated fat combined with red meat, carnitine, which is what is in red meat, and pork, it changes the way our bacteria function to cause inflammation in us. Now, how bad is that inflammation? Well, you can measure it. It's called trimethylamine oxide. TMAO is the abbreviation. that your doctor can write for the test and find out whether you have that. And if you do, what happens is it increases inflammation to a point where it's much worse than a high LDL cholesterol.
Wow.
So we now shoot for an LDL cholesterol under 70, but a cholesterol of 250, an LDL of 250 is very bad. Well, that's the TMAO from eating 2 6-ounce steaks a week in the average person causes a increase in risk equal to that. So if you want to prevent heart disease, stroke, and memory loss, you want to make sure that that is not what's happening in you. Yes, you will lose weight, but weight is not the only parameter or the only variable, if you will, that is key to health. And inflammation is a very important one. And so the problem with this diet is that in 80% of us, it's a little over 80%, 83%, I think the data are, it will cause an inflammatory state that is worse for us, for our heart, our blood vessels, our brain, even our joints, than is a cholesterol of 250, an LDL of 250.
Boy, that's an important number to be aware of. Thank you. That clears up a lot of it. I do have a friend who's been on, she and her husband went on the carnivore diet about 2.5 years ago, and he was about 150 pounds overweight. Not a young guy, but not an old guy, probably 40. And in the 2 years, he lost that 150 pounds and kept it off. And they're still on it. But maybe at his age, he needs to be doing a monitoring of, what was that, TMAL? Is that what you said?
Yeah, trimethylamine oxide, TMAO.
TMAO, okay. I'll let them know. But those of you considering the carnivore diet, you'll lose weight, but you might put yourself at risk for other problems. Be smart, talk to your doctor, get the tests that you need to get. That's important stuff. Speaking of losing weight, doctor, we keep hearing, and we're bombarded with ads for all the semaglutide, GLP-1 drugs. Now there's talk of looking at kids, basically, to start kids on GLP-1s. Is there an age where it's just too young, or should we be worried about getting kids on these kinds of drugs at an early age?
We don't know the answer to that. But remember, it's a lifelong treatment. It isn't you're on it and you're off of it. It is an increase in that in your body. And so we usually start at age 50 as a general protective agent. So these drugs not only decrease your appetite and food noise, which may be important for kids. You know, we never had obesity in America in our kids until the food industry learned how to produce addictive food, which is what they're producing now with a lot of sugar and other things in it. And so we're using the GLPs as an antidote to food industry advertising and promotion. So in that sense, it'd be better just to keep the kid away from TV ads and those foods. But the value of the drugs for those over 50 is that not only do they decrease your food noise and your desire to eat, and they also decrease your desire for alcohol, your desire for other drugs, but they decrease, in addition, heart disease, stroke, memory loss, progression of kidney disease, progression of lung disease, progression of joint disease, and decrease cancer risks, all because of what they do to glucose handling by your cell.
Yeah.
So they have other benefits. Now, I said an important thing, right? They decrease your desire for drugs in general, and that is the opioids and alcohol. So I think eventually what will happen when we look at what will fall out over the long term is I think that we will do genetic testing, find out who is at risk of the addiction to food, alcohol, and drugs, and start them on the GLPs at age 8 or 9. But for the rest of the kids, if they're overeating, mom and dad should be controlling that by what food is in the house and what food environment the kid has. So that's my thoughts.
Okay.
Just for obesity, no, but for the other things, yes, especially for warding off drug abuse.
Now, doctor, when you were talking about some of the things that the GLP-1s do, and that is decreasing the desire for food, alcohol, whatever, there is talk that the GLP-1s are also decreasing our natural drive to achieve, that they're creating a group of zombies that don't have the same kind of interest. You know, we're famous. Americans are famous for wanting to get up off the couch and get stuff done. Is there any truth to those stories out there that says GLP-1 just kills our desire for everything?
We don't have enough data to say that yet. It may, but as of now, we don't have that data.
Okay, but that's not good. I don't like the idea.
No. But I think it is not evident, is what I'm saying. Is so if it is causing this zombie-like state, it isn't a common side effect.
So put it on the list of things to watch for, but right now it's not on that list of common side effects. But we'll still keep our eyes out for it. Got it. Okay. That's great. Dr. Roizen, I also want to talk about the Roizen rule for a younger you, which is always important to me. I always want to have a younger me. And you say number one is blood pressure. Blood pressure, we're not having it treated or controlled. Let's talk about that.
Well, this is a recent study looking at people in the United States. Roughly, there are 80 million people in the United States with high blood pressure that are getting treated. But there are another 10 to 30 million who aren't getting treated. And those people who aren't getting treated, if they would get treated, get a blood pressure below 130 on the top number, that's when your heart is contracting, and below 80 on the bottom number, we would have a major decrease in the deaths from any cause and from cardiovascular deaths over the next 10 years, and a lot less disability. And when you look at it, even among the 80 to plus million who are getting treated, a lot of them aren't taking the medicines the way they're prescribed. And so the message is, and I want to make it clear, the message is talk to your doctor, because this is really important. And if you aren't taking it the way it's prescribed, it's usually due to you don't want a side effect. And we have every side effect possible in the blood pressure medicines that are approved because they're lifelong. The drug companies have spent a lot of money developing them and developing ones. And so almost everyone has a side effect, but there are different side effects, and you can get side effects you want. So you want more libido, lisinopril. You want less inflammation, Macardis. So you can find almost a select your side effect menu, if you will, for what drug your doc and you initially try. And it is an experiment. For each drug, we don't know whether it'll work or not work in any individual person. So you've got to be willing to adjust and find out what gives you the best result, the best blood pressure control with either the least side effects or the side effect you want.
That's amazing. So we have many medications that can help people control or manage their blood pressure, but every drug comes with a potential for a side effect. And in the case of the blood pressure drugs, you can basically say, okay, I want to control my blood pressure, but I also want to make sure that the side effect is the one I'm most comfortable dealing with. That is a very interesting story, Dr. Roizen. Blood pressure really critical. And you can manage it with medication. You can also help it with diet and exercise. It's been proven. We know that. But the important thing Dr. Royson says is talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor. Really important. Doc, another Royson rule for younger you. We talk about caffeine all the time while we're talking about blood pressure and heart safety. What's the latest on caffeine? It seems to change every week.
No, it doesn't change. It's been consistent. I've tried to tell you. 4 to 6 cups a day. The data are clear, and maybe more is better than that, but 4 to 6 cups a day doesn't harm your heart. That's what the AHA came out with finally as an official guideline. But we've said that for many years. And not only doesn't hurt your heart, it actually decreases your risk of developing atrial fibrillation, decreases your risk of type 2 diabetes, decreases liver disease, and decreases your risk of 9 different cancers, including both prostate and breast. So it has a sizable benefit, and I would strongly advocate it.
Now, you say coffee. Does tea count? Because I'm a tea drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Yeah, so we don't have as much data on tea, but it looks like it does the same thing.
How come we not have as much data on tea? We got over 1 billion people in China, and they're all drinking tea. How come we can't get data from them, Dr. Royson? Come on.
They don't have the same, at least they haven't had in the past, the same electronic medical record.
Okay, good.
I don't know if you've ever been to a clinic in China.
No, thankfully.
But I went to a clinic in China just to see what it was like, and you take a number. It's like, you remember those things in stores where you would pull down a number?
Yeah, at the deli.
Your number 43, yeah, at the deli. And, well, that's what they do. They line up, and they have to kind of get who they want to see, meaning which type of doctor. There's these huge lines. These are the free clinics they have, and you get about 30 seconds with the doc. Well, obviously, the doc doesn't have, or even his assistants don't have any time to keep an electronic medical record. Well, things are getting more sophisticated in China, just like they have here, but they haven't had electronic medical records with all of the comorbidities, et cetera, in it to be able to do the research to look at tea for them.
Well, I hope they do, because as a tea drinker, I want to be able to say I have to drink 6 to 8 cups of tea a day, because I do enjoy my tea, especially the green tea. But I do like black tea, too. Doc, I know you've got stuff to do today, so I don't want to monopolize your time. Of all the other stories you sent me, what's the most important one? Is it high fructose corn syrup?
I think it's the high fructose corn syrup. And the interesting part of that is that we know sugar stimulates cancer growth and cancer spreading. And in this one, what they found was even with cancers being treated, when people had fructose, the high fructose corn syrup, or corn syrup is the common way we get it. You get it very commonly at the coffee shops with all those sweet drinks. Well, guess what? That's fructose. And what they found was that fructose ends up turning on in the cancer cells a process that tells them to grow and to metastasize. Fructose proves to be a signaling molecule, meaning it tells the cell, make more of yourself, and in addition, get outside of this little barrier, go to the bloodstream and get more. So they found that that fructose is really bad. So if you, God forbid, get cancer or have cancer under treatment, and they found it was even very bad for those who are getting chemotherapy, because it gets the cell that are what we call hurt by chemotherapy to somehow metastasize itself before it keels over and dies.
Boy, that's amazing. So if fructose does that, high fructose must turbocharge that as well, or is that just an assumption I'm making?
No, high fructose corn syrup is just a different, it's instead of 45%, it's 55% fructose or something like that. So it's in the same realm.
It's like going from 89 octane to 93 octane at the gas pump.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So do you just try and replace it? Do you replace it with glucose? Do you replace it with nothing? What's the best?
No, replace it with nothing.
Okay.
Please.
So try and get rid of it. It is a turbocharging cancer, and then especially for people who are undergoing cancer treatment, important to get the fructose out of your diet and do it now. His name is Dr. Michael Roizen. He is our friend. He's also with the Cleveland Clinic and the website 4longevity.com, the number 4longevity.com. And Doc, you've got a book coming out early next year, right? We can pre-order it?
Yes, please do. You getting older, the owner's manual for your golden years, please do pre-order it. The pre-orders have an enormous benefit for the publicity the book will receive, so please do pre-order it. You Getting Older. You can find it under Roizen, Roizen. You Getting Older, the owner's manual for your golden years. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Can't wait for it, my friend. Let's do it again next week. Thank you so much.
Look forward to it, Michael.
And there he goes, Dr. Mike Roizen from the Cleveland Clinic, and I appreciate him making time for us earlier this morning. Hang on one second. I think my mic's a little low. Is that all right, DeSantis? Am I good? I also appreciate, Justin, you guys putting in a picture of me from high school. For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, stunned by the photo they were using. That's an old picture. I think that's like a decade old. I'm going to have to get some new pictures taken. Great information. One of the things that I wrote down, because I always write down notes when I'm listening to Dr. Roizen talk about stuff, that they're now looking at this GLP-1 drug and openly saying if you get on it, you're going to be on it for the rest of your life. And I know some people may need the help, but does everybody in the country need to be on the GLP-1 drugs going forward? That seems like it's a frightening proposition. I don't know if that's so wise. I'm one of those people who's trying to do it naturally, always with diet and exercise. Crazy stuff. But if you've followed me for a while, you know I am a devotee of Dr. Roizen. His information is usually totally based in science, unlike Fauci, which was based in trying to get himself famous. And Roizen and Dr. Oz have co-written, I think it is 9 bestsellers together. So he's got a history behind him, and his new book should be really good. I've already pre-ordered it. I paid for it. He doesn't send it to me for free. All right, just around the corner, Guy Shiraki. New piece out from Guy this week. We'll talk about Philly politics. We'll talk about Pennsylvania politics. And I think I'm going to have to bring up a Ronald Reagan reference because of Guy's latest column. It reminded me of one of the speeches of Reagan. Well, it's actually called The Speech. If you know what I'm talking about, you want to stick around. It's Opelka. It's Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
In Philadelphia, when property damage hits, there's one name more homeowners and business owners trust than anyone else. Morano's Public Adjustment Group, the #1 public adjuster in Philly. Why? Because they don't work for the insurance company. They work for you, fighting to get you the maximum settlement you deserve. Fire, water, storm damage, even denied or underpaid claims. Morano's knows how to win. Don't settle for less. Call the team Philadelphia trusts most. Visit Morano'sAdjustment.com or call today. Morano's Public Adjustment Group, Philadelphia's #1 public adjuster.
All right, what's the weather like out there?
It's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Real hot.
Can you tell me what it feels like?
Were you born on the sun? I said it's hot.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Is this how you're feeling right now? Well, don't let your house feel like a rainforest anymore. To keep your home cool, contact us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekanze.com.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. How many times are you going to listen to my voice before you finally go to investorschooling.com? I can't believe you haven't signed up for a class yet. You're going to learn real estate investing. You're going to learn stock options trading. You're going to learn things about money that you didn't even know existed. Go to investorschooling.com right now. Oh my goodness. This Thursday, investorschooling.com, and take that free class. See you there.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
When it comes to your home, you shouldn't have to roll the dice with a small contractor or pay the high prices of a giant one. At Lemus Remodeling Group, a family-owned company, you get the perfect balance. Expert exterior remodeling from a team that's nationally recognized and neighborhood trusted. From roofing and siding to windows, doors, and gutters, the Lemus team delivers quality work, honest pricing, and a home that feels brand new. Call 610-GO-LEMUS to schedule your free consultation today or visit their website at golemus.com. Lemus Remodeling Group. Trust Lemus for a lifetime.
D&K Appliances is a family-owned and operated business for 3 generations located in Newtown Square and Flowertown. D&K Appliances offers one-stop shopping, providing delivery, installation, and service of top brands like GE, Thermador, Wolf, Bosch, Speed Queen, KitchenAid, and Whirlpool for your kitchen or laundry. D&K Appliance sales associates are industry experts, supporting customers every step of the way. Visit D&K Appliances, the dependable difference. Newtown Square and Flowertown showrooms, or visit DKappliances.com.
250 years ago, the number 13 became legendary. 13 colonies with one bold vision declared themselves a nation. Led by George Washington, they forged the bravest experiment in liberty the world had ever seen. To honor America's 250th birthday, a magnificent tribute, the 2026 George Washington 24-karat gold dollar. Exclusively from the first colonial mint, this .311 gram, 11 millimeter gold coin is the official Ascension Island gold dollar. Struck in pure 24-karat gold, it's the world's first 13-sided gold coin. Minted in limited quantity with a stunning proof finish. It features Washington's portrait, 13 brilliant stars, and a golden eagle design inspired by the gold coin Washington himself carried. For a limited time, a special price of just $69 plus shipping has been established with a strict limit of 1 per household. To claim yours, call 800-929-1313. That's 800-929-1313. 800-929-1313.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Listen, I know sometimes you worry about coming to see me because you don't want to invest in real estate, because you don't want to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants. I'm going to teach you a way that you don't have to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants, or even own any real estate and invest in real estate at the same time. You want to learn this, so go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com, and take a complimentary class this Thursday, and I promise you, no toilets, no trash, no tenants.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
South Jersey owned and operated, GreenLaneDelivery.com has been in the produce business for nearly a century. They now deliver the freshest produce directly to your door. Visit GreenLaneDelivery.com and see why over 10,000 of your neighbors have already made the switch. Priced for every family. Quality produce, sourced in season, delivered to your table the next day. First-time customers use promo code WPHT for 10% off. Make the convenient switch. Freshness is just a click away at GreenLaneDelivery.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk from Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Turn it up, crank the dial. Mike Opelka is back to make you smile. He's the voice that cuts right through. Back on 1210, Opelka's here for you. The truth has no agenda, and neither does he. So kick back and enjoy the show on WPHT. Mike Opelka's in your town.
I'm in your town. I'm in your radio. I'm on your YouTube channel. I'm not exactly everywhere, but darn it, I'm trying to be. It is Mike Opelka on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thank you for being here. Kicking off the third hour of the show, 5:05 on this Wednesday, swampy Wednesday. I think we have like 10 more minutes left in the flood warning. DeSantis, do you know if they canceled it after 5:15? I was looking at that earlier.
I don't know for certain. I don't see any flooding though. I think I made it out unscathed.
Good. Thank God. I'm just sick of it, and I hope it clears up. Although I'm looking at the weekend forecast, and I do have a 7:10 tee time on Saturday and a 7:20 on Sunday. It's dicey. Might not happen. Another weekend without golf. I might need some sort of mental health intervention. I might need to reach out to the posse. I might need a sane person like Guy Shiraki to help me out. I might need a life coach like Coach Shiraki. Guy Shiraki joining us as he does on most occasions when I'm on this here radio show on 1210. Coach, thanks for making time for us. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about yourself? I hope you're well. Sorry, I hope you survived the no golf. My golf is limited to the Ocean City Boardwalk, but sorry if you miss out.
So if you get the ball through the alligator's mouth and it makes it into the king's castle, it's a good day for you. That's good.
That's right. Exactly. Every par is about a 3. If you need more than 3, you probably stopped off at the bar ahead of time.
That's true. That's true. Although I really can't play golf, and I can't play golf worse if I'm drinking on the course. So it only complicates things for me. So I hope to be back out there. I hope everybody gets a chance to get outside this weekend. The weather's just been so nutty lately. And I notice you're not wearing a tuxedo. You're not wearing a shirt and tie. You're not wearing the coach's outfit today. I appreciate the casual attire. I wore my Abdul El Sayed triggering shirt, which you probably can't see in the current shot. But I'm gonna raise it up a little bit. I have the official shirt from the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF long sleeve shirt from the IDF. I have another one that says Guns and Moses that they sell.
Ooh,
and
see?
Yeah. So anything that can trigger these guys, I figure, Fetterman would probably like a Guns and Moses shirt. We should probably
a Guns N' Moses hoodie, maybe.
That's true. That's true. Because you never see the shirt he has on. Although when he testified, or when he was grilling Dr. Fauci, he actually had a shirt. He had grown-up clothes on, like he was going to court.
It was dress up. It looked as though it's like those guys that don't like to dress up, but they're going to a wedding and their wife tells them, you have to put a suit on. Henry's getting married. Put a suit on.
A few of these elder statesmen in Congress are starting to look like that. There's some of them that are so old it doesn't look like they can dress themselves, and when their ties are just, it looked like someone else tied it and then put it over their neck and tried to tighten it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you do.
As a father of a boy who had to wear, now a young man, our son Lewis, when he had to get ready for high school, I either did that or he had, the high school kids are like 10 ties pre-made that sat on a hook for all 4 years of high school. He would put them on, take them off, and those things after 4 years of high school, they just had to be destroyed because they were just in a permanent knot for 4 years. Yes.
Not dirty?
So the alternative was to make it.
Well, you could probably dip them in hot water and make soup. If you're a kid in high school, you probably stained that tie with lunch every day. Just saying. So, Guy, what do you make of the Michigan win for this El Sayed cat? Do you think this is good for the GOP, or do you think this is a troubling sign?
I would go with option C. It's both. Look,
wow. Okay.
My theory, my personal belief has been this. The more they run to the left, the more they embrace crazy, it's a window of opportunity for Republicans. But here's why it's troubling. One is because there's a chance some of these folks will win. And in seats like in the 3rd District in Philly, where a socialist won, in a seat that has 91% registration for Democrats, are going to win. So what's troubling is as socialists win the Democratic nomination is that there are seats they're going to win. And in Michigan, I think the odds have moved to Republican, but it certainly wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that a Democrat gets elected. So as a Republican, there's an opportunity to win. Look, as an American, as you and I have discussed, the more they embrace crazy, the more troubling it is for me because crazy people are getting elected to office. They're also, if you will, desensitizing us to crazy. They're desensitizing us to socialism. I mean, the last 60 days we've gone from democratic socialism to progressive and socialist, and now we have these silly arguments that, either first socialism was this bold new idea, and now it's, we already have socialism. Look, we have Social Security, we pave our roads, we have cops, we already have socialism. It's nothing to be afraid of. So, look, good news for the Republicans if they seize upon it and offer common sense alternatives, but bad news for the nation because the one of the two major parties has either embraced or enabled crazy, and I just don't think that's good for us because some of them are going to win and some of them actually want to do these things.
Yeah, I liken this to the earliest days of the Squad, where you had the 4 members of the Squad, and we all kind of went, it's just 4. There's 220 of them, and 4 of them are on the Squad, and now you wake up, and the Squad is a dozen, and now they are considered to be more towards the center because you have this new nutjob wing that has infiltrated the party, and you might have 4 members of the hardline Democrat Socialist Party that are there. They're accepted. And suddenly, to use the term we used yesterday again, the Overton window is shifting left, which makes what was the left now the center. And so the AOCs become legitimized, if you will.
Exactly right. It also, I will tell you again, as an observer, but as also somebody who worked for the chief of staff of the lieutenant governor in Harrisburg, served as chief of staff to a member of Congress, served as chief of staff to a state senator, is the more of these folks that go into a caucus, the center of gravity, to your point, shifts. and the debate amongst members in a caucus shift. And more importantly, as you're seeing, look, no better example than the U.S. Senate. I mean, Chuck Schumer has been around since Jimmy Carter, right? And Chuck Schumer's sort of old school Democrats. We're going to fight for the working class. We're going to protect the environment. But the specter, pardon the pun, the specter of AOC challenging him in a primary, and the presence of the Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, the two clowns from Georgia being in their caucus has forced, in a sense, we can have a debate. Has Chuck Schumer moved radically left, or has he just decided that for his survival, he has to enable crazy? I don't know. That's a great conversation we can have over a beer or coffee, as the good doctor told us, maybe over some coffee. But
yeah,
whether Chuck Schumer has moved to the left or enabling left, the U.S. Senate Democrats are doing crazier things, supporting crazier things. So I think the same thing is true across the board. The more of these folks that win, it pulls the center of gravity to the left, as you said, but it also forces more of the mainstream people. There are less Fettermans, there are less Rahm Emanuels who stand up and say enough. There are too many that enable it. And, I present to you as sort of the quintessential example, the governor of Pennsylvania, who on Monday, wants to sort of be the moderate common sense guy, and on Tuesday validates crazy because he's trying to ride both lanes to see, is it better to be socialist or better to be moderate? It's bad news for us, not to mention the least of which, Mike, is they're advocating something that 100 years of history, not to mention millennia of common sense, tell us is wrong.
Not just wrong, but fails, and with deadly consequences. And anybody wants to say, well, Mamdani is making the rent frozen in New York City. You can look at 100 or 70 years of frozen rent in Havana, Cuba, and see what that's done for life. We talked yesterday to Dr. Victoria Coates. They had their 5th total blackout in that country over the weekend. So it's prime examples are available anywhere. I want to talk briefly. I want to dial back to your comments about the Senate in New York. I made this presentation earlier. There is a rumor floating on social media that says that the Senate race to watch is not AOC challenging Chuck Schumer, but Mamdani challenging Chuck Schumer. So El Sayed might not be the first Muslim in the Senate. It could be Zohran Mamdani taking that spot, which I think would be a game changer for them, because I put up the Van Jones theory yesterday that you drop the radical pose to achieve the radical ends. You have Mamdani, who's a smiling, well-groomed, attractive, well-dressed, well-spoken guy. Now you have El Sayed, who's certainly very quick on his feet when he's facing the press. I think they have done a great job in casting who they want to place in these positions to run against anybody in the GOP. And that's what concerns me, that we're a shallow enough society that we will vote for the smiling guy over the frowning guy with better principles.
It's certainly which again goes back to the point, as we discussed a few moments ago, it presents an opportunity for Republicans, but by no means a guarantee. And every one of them, whether they win in a 90% Democratic congressional seat in Philadelphia or win with 50.5 and get elected to the Senate in a purple state like Michigan, it is bad news for the nation. They believe in demonstrably bad things. Many of them believe in things that are openly anti-American. They embrace, literally and figuratively, embrace people that say things like socialism is better than capitalism and 9/11 was deserved. And borders should go away and prisons should be emptied. Again, as you and I've discussed, as I've written, we are not debating tax rates. We are not debating whether murderers get life in prison or the death penalty. We are debating existentially different things. That the nation of the Liberty Bell, of the Statue of Liberty, of the Declaration of Independence is debating whether socialism and all of the police state, government powers, and confiscation of money and rights, that should be the basis for our society. I ask you, when the walls came down, when the Berlin Wall came down, nobody rushed and said, my goodness, I finally get to East Germany. I want to go to the doctors in East Germany. I want to open a business. They ran west. When radical socialism, communism was coming to Vietnam, they literally hung on helicopters in hopes of getting out. Look at the list of Nobel Prizes. How many people win Nobel Prizes in science, art, music that come from socialism? It's not only a horrible economic system, it saps your will, your independence, and the fact that we're debating it as a possible governing structure, economic sense. That's why the time is now again, right? This is a time for now. It's a time to stand up, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, and reject this nonsense.
Well, your latest piece in Broad and Liberty with the headline, A Time for Choosing, again, reminded me of that speech from Ronald Reagan, the great speech where he was nominating Barry Goldwater. But I think this really was the launching pad towards Reagan and a serious presidential threat to anybody else who wanted to be president, and especially in the GOP. And I just want to play a little clip, Coach, from that moment, from that great speech from Reagan, from the speech from Ronald Reagan.
History will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. Not too long ago, two friends of mine were talking to a Cuban refugee, a businessman who had escaped from Castro. And in the midst of his story, one of my friends turned to the other and said, "We don't know how lucky we are." And the Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had some place to escape to." And in that sentence, he told us the entire story. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism. And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course.
He's right. He's so right. Now, I want to call back to something we talked about with Dr. Roizen. You referenced Dr. Roizen, my discussion with him in the last hour. One of the things we talked about was this lack of motivation among a generation that's happening right now. And you cite in your great Broad and Liberty piece the numbers, the shocking numbers of people in this country, many on the left, who don't love America anymore, aren't proud of the country, and those who have no positive view of capitalism. And I wonder if the addiction to either substances like marijuana or in any of its forms, or the GLP-1 drugs, which take away the desire for drugs, alcohol, and some say motivation, if we are now creating this nation of young zombies who have no drive and they're drugged. And so it's easy to sell them anything, that the government will take care of you. I've never seen anything like it, and this did happen very quickly, in my opinion, Guy. Your take?
Yeah, that the aspirational hope of what America is why ultimately this young Irish Italian from South Philly abandoned the Democratic Party, because I thought they had abandoned me, and I was drawn to the hope of Ronald Reagan and what America should be and could be and was created to be. And look, Mike, I think it's all of those things, but I think it's all manifestation of what I wrote in the column, which is a generation of two where you take away everyone's underpinnings. You take away faith, you take away parenthood, you take away family, you take away you suggest that the country is founded improperly, that the rules are are unjust. The rules are invalid, unethical. And then you suggest that this all-powerful government will save you, and that you create this bubble wrap mentality that you should never experience stress. No one should ever be mean to you. And meanness is redefined. No one should ever say anything. You should never go without a Starbucks. You should never go without a car. You should never go without college. You should never go without medicine. You should never go without an apartment. But don't worry, the government will give it to you. And if you question what that means, just the rich will pay their share. You weaken people. You frighten people. You give them no tethering. So if you're without faith and without family and you feel overwhelmed by the crises of the planet, whether it's imperialism, racism, or the planet's melting, and you say, but don't worry, the government will save you. We've replaced family, faith, freedom with the government, and then we tell you, we will protect you. And the medications are really just an outgrowth of that. And medicine, look, medicine can be wonderful. I am the son-in-law, right, of I'm the son-in-law of two doctors. Dr. Dorothy is home recuperating from surgery. Surgeons saved her. Medication will prevent her from getting infections. This is not about medicine, good or bad. But there are medicines that have come along so as to suggest you can eat poorly, you can give up exercise, and we'll fix it. Again, the bubble wrap mentality where we take away common sense. And I think we've just created a generation that feels lonely and they want protection and they're afraid of harm, and we protect them through the government. It's the antithesis of the American dream. We used to talk about resilience and independence and creativity, and now we talk about victimhood and protection. And it's a very, very different. And sometimes that gets lost in our debate about affordability and the price of gas. And those things we should talk about. But at its core, we're going to fix them through liberty, independence, opportunity, faith, family, and freedom, not through an all-powerful government. Again, nobody left West Berlin and said it's time to go to East Berlin. Nobody sneaks out of South Korea and goes to West Korea. Nobody from Miami says, if only I could get a raft and get to Cuba. It's just not the way the world works. And to watch yet another group of intellectuals think that this time their brilliance and insight into collectivism will replace family, faith, freedom, and that anybody falls for it is just tragically sad.
Well, the statement that you can vote yourself into socialism, communism, but you're going to have to shoot your way out of it is the one that sits in the back of my head, because I think it's really hard to stop this movement, which is entrenched in the young people. The numbers you quote in your article, your piece on Broad and Liberty, says it pretty much right out. It's the young people who have turned this way, and they're being led by the purple-haired seniors who've retired, that were the hippies that traded initially. They traded Dylan for dollars. And now that their dollars aren't covering enough, they're back to saying we have to bring the top down and the bottom up. The cloud and pivot strategy has to happen. I just don't know how you stop it. I think Turning Point USA and the late Charlie Kirk was on to something, but since the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, there was an initial return to faith. There was an initial re-enrollment at churches that was really encouraging, but that seems to have lost focus. I know folks who went to the latest Turning Point stuff that said, yeah, it's just not the same. It's never going to be the same without Charlie. So while I have hopes that the young people will wake up, and every time you see a young entrepreneur breaking through, you think maybe the rest of them will catch on. But no, they're addicted to what we played the clip yesterday from Tammy Pescatelli, who said, you're addicted to self-care. You're getting pedicures. Your teeth are perfect. We had horrible teeth and we were fugly, but we owned homes because we didn't waste money on stupid stuff when we were kids. The price that people are paying for a new car, the average car payment now is near $1,000 a month, Guy. My first 3 houses I owned, the house payment was not $1,000 a month. So I think we just prioritize the wrong things with these kids too.
Right. Well, that goes back to education. As I say, well, many of us were busy pursuing happiness. we didn't realize. And again, look, I've said this, other programs. I don't know that every fourth grade teacher teaching Pennsylvania history was in on a conspiracy. I just mean that slowly the curriculum was adjusted, and Hollywood adjusted, and the media adjusted. And suddenly all of the underpinnings of society were pulled out. But I would say there is hope. They are going too far too fast, and there are signs of hope. There is turning point. There's also PragerU. There's also the Leadership Institute, where a gentleman named Morton Blackwell for 3 generations has been educating youth in policy issues and how to work in government and how to work in the media. There are entities that are focused on that. And look, there are countless stories about young men. We'll someday figure out about young women, but there are young men who want to raise families, who want to serve in the military, who want to be entrepreneurs. You go back a year ago, the young men at my fraternity, but in South Carolina, who rushed out to protect the American flag, right? So there are hopeful signs out there, but we do have our work cut out for us because the seeds have been planted for 20 years. Men shouldn't be men and men can be women. The founders were racist. I was on Inside Story less than a month ago, and one of my fellow panelists, who's a wonderful person and all night, but said in this whole debate about George Washington and the signage here in Philadelphia, she went and said, I don't even know why we honor somebody like Washington. To which I had my sort of, my Scott Jennings moment where my jaw was on my chest. I had never heard an adult articulate and say, I have no idea why we would even honor George Washington. So we have work to do, but there's hope. And the good and bad of the sort of bifurcated media now is that there are a lot of outlets where we can talk to young people. And there are a lot of outlets where we can share information like Broad and Liberty and Real Clear. And it's our younger people, but it starts with us, those of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s saying, this socialism thing is not quite what you think it is. And look, our friend in New York City is already starting to walk back the rent, walk back the free housing, walk back the free grocery stores, free child care, explaining that maybe some things aren't free. I just think we have to be ever vigilant and push back. And it won't happen overnight, but we have to push back and offer these folks an alternative. And it just can't be simply that they're bad, it's wrong. Trust me, it's wrong. We have to prove to them how what's worked in the past, how faith, freedom, family, the Constitution, America work. Never have more people been more charitable, giving of their time and money. No nation in the history of the planet. Forget our wealth. Forget our quality. No nation in the history of the world has been more charitable in giving its time and
Well, Guy froze for a second there. I'm not sure what happened. I was going to say that I agree with Guy Shiraki, but no nation on the planet has a wealthier poor class. The poorest people in America are the envy of many countries around the world. So I'm sorry we lost Guy, but we have to take a break anyway, I think. Yeah, we're up against it. Follow Guy Shiraki. His stuff is always excellent. The latest piece on Broad and Liberty, talking about a time for choosing, again, harkens back to the Reagan speech of '64, nominating Barry Goldwater. A really important speech and a really great one. Taking a break. When we come back, are you a tequila drinker? Do you go to the supermarket? You're going to want to meet our next guest, my old friend Phil Lempert, who is the supermarket guru, but he also knows a thing or three about tequila. And there's a great story about what country drinks the most tequila. It's us, the United States of America. We'll give you some important tequila lessons just around the corner. It's Mike Opelka, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event. With impressive efficiency, sleek exterior styling, and sport-tuned suspension. The Honda Civic and HR-V have all you need to get summer ready with the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Shop Piazza Honda of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on EPA estimate of 2024 large full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. EPA Automotive Trends Report 2025.
Every bank talks about service, but WSFS Bank shows it every single day. Locally headquartered and committed to the region for nearly 2 centuries. People in your corner who care about your goals. National capabilities that take you wherever you want to grow. And with the wealth management expertise of Bryn Mawr Trust, your milestones are just a WSFS away. WSFS Bank and Bryn Mawr Trust. We stand for service. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Bryn Mawr Trust is a division of WSFS Bank.
250 years ago, the number 13 became legendary. 13 colonies with one bold vision declared themselves a nation. Led by George Washington, they forged the bravest experiment in liberty the world had ever seen. To honor America's 250th birthday, a magnificent tribute, the 2026 George Washington 24-karat gold dollar. Exclusively from the first colonial mint, this .311 gram, 11 millimeter gold coin is the official Ascension Island gold dollar. Struck in pure 24-karat gold, it's the world's first 13-sided gold coin. Minted in limited quantity with a stunning proof finish. It features Washington's portrait, 13 brilliant stars, and a golden eagle design inspired by the gold coin Washington himself carried. For a limited time, a special price of just $69 plus shipping has been established with a strict limit of 1 per household. To claim yours, call 800-929-1313. That's 800-929-1313. 800-929-1313.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of
If not me, then who? This ethos is driving the Travis Manion Foundation to empower veterans and families of fallen heroes to develop character in future generations. In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq while saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on in the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Guided by this mantra, veterans are continuing their service, developing strong relationships within their own community, and thriving in their post-military lives. Visit travismanion.org.
Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Radio 1210 WPHT 537. Mike Opelka with you. And one of the greatest things about my job, and I am truly blessed and favored to be where I am and doing what I do, and have been doing it now into a 4th decade of playing on the radio and sometimes on TV. One of the greatest things about it is the people you meet, because you will meet some of the most remarkable, inspiring, amazing people along the way. And if you pay attention, you can learn stuff from these people, and they might even stick around and take your call 30, 20 years down the road. Our next guest is a guy that I had the pleasure to encounter 20 years ago when I was working on a radio show called Wake Up with Whoopi. That's right, Whoopi Goldberg. And he was at the time who he is today, the supermarket guru. This guy's name is Phil Lempert. You may have seen him on the Today Show. You may be a follower of the Supermarket Guru website. You may read his Substack, which is just excellent stuff. The one thing we all do in this world is eat and enjoy food, and sometimes enjoy a cocktail. And when I have questions about any of that stuff, I go to Phil Lempert and the Supermarket Guru. So today when I read the story about tequila, I said, it would be perfect to explain this to people. Phil Lempert. And here he is. My friend, it has been too long. Thank you for making time.
Of course. And everything that you said, I'll throw back to you. It's a pleasure to know you, to be with you, and really to be able to have you as a resource for consumers to really explain things properly and clearly. So thank you, my friend.
Well, you're welcome. The truth has no agenda, and especially as it relates to food and drink, it should never have anything other than the truth in front of us. Phil, to give you guys an idea of how much common sense Phil brings to any of these topics, Phil's the guy who explained to me, supermarkets are laid out to the point where if you really want to eat good, you go around the perimeter. You start on one outside and you work all the way around, because that's where all the good stuff is. The stuff in the middle may not be as good for you. But I love following your advice, Phil. I have to ask you, I want to get to the tequila question, but I have to ask you, what's your take on Mamdani and this government grocery store thing? You're the guy who turned me on to Aldi years ago before they even came to the Philadelphia area. You said, pay attention. These Europeans are bringing in these stores, and they have their own brands. They're going to be a lot cheaper, and they've turned out to be cheaper. I get nervous when I think I have to go to the government-run food store. Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. I applaud what he's trying to do. However, it's not realistic. You can't reduce prices by 30% on food. It's just not physically possible. The average grocery store makes between 1.5% and 2% net profit a year. So where's that money going to come from? And what I do applaud, he's put out an RFP for current supermarket vendors to be able to run these stores. They're not going to be city-run stores, but they're going to give them tax abatements and the like. But the reality is that, it's a tough one. I would rather see them go to Aldi, as you mentioned, and say, okay, we're going to give you free rent.
We're going to give you tax abatements. We're going to subsidize it. Let them run their stores. And, what you didn't mention, besides Aldi having great prices, Aldi also has great quality. And that's what we need. It's not just about cheaper prices, but also good quality.
See, I'm a guy who lived in Midtown Manhattan for 23 years, and I got used to my corner bodega. I got used to my Gristides store down the block. I got used to the local grocer that I knew and loved. So it always makes me nervous when the government says, we think we could do this better. And I do think the guys that are working night and day to keep their families fed, running these stores, they're the ones who they've got skin in the game. So I would try and keep them in business as opposed to competing with them. That's my take.
Absolutely, and there's lawsuits about that taking place right now. And also, to your point, we've seen this happen before. We've seen it in Chicago. We've seen it in Baltimore. We've seen it in a lot of other parts of the country, and it just doesn't work. The only one that works is in Atlanta, where it was city owned and then was turned over to a private organization. They don't know how to run supermarkets. Supermarkets are a very complex business.
Oh, yeah, very tough. And the people who are in them end up retail's a hard business. Food retail is a really hard business. Speaking of which, I have to ask your opinion on something because you wrote about it on Substack. You gave Burger King a little love for their promise to live up to their promise to their consumers.
Here's the bottom line. It's great marketing to say that, if you don't like the Whopper, we'll give you your money back and we'll give you another one free. But as I said in my column, I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Howard Johnson's as a kid, and if anybody ever complained, you gave them their money back. It wasn't even an issue. So what McDonald's and Burger King are trying to do is turn that into a marketing advantage, saying, oh, we're here for you. No, every store brand has a money back guarantee. Every national brand has a money back guarantee. This is a non-issue. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that Burger King, might have the right heart for what they're doing, but give me some more substance.
Are you worried about the removal of human beings from the fast food experience? Because we see these kiosks and then maybe even robots cooking in fast food environments. One of the producers here was emailing you, Matt DeSantis. He's a Harvard-educated guy, but his idea of high-end dining is Mickey D's. And I'm worried that he's going to be served by robots going forward.
Well, there's two parts to this. Number one is I am a fan of robotics in the kitchen. They will cook our food better.
Really?
I am not a fan. Yeah, I'm not a fan of robots, replacing servers or doing those things. And in fact, what we're seeing in a lot of drive-thrus and fast food is AI.
Going through the Jack in the Box drive-thru.
You remember the famous, Don Imus skit that put him on the map, where he, called up and he ordered, I think it was either 20,000 or 30,000 burgers to go. I mean, that's what put Don Imus on the map.
That's true. Rest in peace, Imus. Yes. I want to shift gears and go from the food aisle to the liquor aisle. There was a story today that caught my attention about what country drinks the most tequila. And the subhead was, it's not Mexico, even though Mexico produces all of the great tequilas, it seems, on the planet. And the first name that came to my mind was Phil Lempert, because you were the guy who introduced me to some of the subtle nuances of tequila beyond just a shot or a margarita. And I want to revisit some of that, Phil. Now, are you still a tequila aficionado?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, if it wasn't just 10 to 6, I would have tequila right here.
Now, it would be, if my memory's correct, it would be a clear, nice, neat shot of añejo, correct?
No, Blanco. I'm a Blanco person. And if you look at what tequila is going through now, and tequila, I would say 2026 is a stabilization year. There are now over, get this, Mike, 2,000 different brands of tequila. Everybody from George Clooney to the local Jose Cuervo. But tequila is actually growing up, and that's a good thing. You know, Jose Cuervo is still the number one tequila in the U.S. It does have additives. It does have added color. It does have added sugar to it, corn syrup to it, which is why a lot of us remember from college, you know, waking up with Jose Cuervo and having a headache. So it's evolved terrifically. But you know, you can buy Jose Cuervo for anywhere between 12 and $17 a bottle. It's really the silver tequilas, the añejos that are much more expensive, that are really leading the pack now, and people are becoming much more sophisticated with their tequilas. However, let me say, because of the economy, tequila sales are down.
Well, we've seen a lot of alcohol sales down, as we've also seen a rise in the use of marijuana and various products related to it, not just smokables, but edibles, vapables, etc., that people are using different things to relax and or intoxicate. And so that's logical. What I want to get to, Phil, is something you taught me. Explain for this audience what that number means on the bottle of tequila, because you taught me something that has me going through the shelves in the tequila department at the fine wine and spirits area here in Pennsylvania and looking for numbers. What the heck is with the number on the bottle?
So let's remember that tequila can only be produced in Tequila, Mexico. Number one. Can't be produced anyplace else in the world. It's like champagne in France. Yeah. So on the bottom of the bottle or on the back of the bottle, you'll see a number, and that's the plant number. Same way that we see, a meat packing number on ground beef. So that identifies the plant. So if we're smart, what we will do is we'll go to Costco. We will look at the plant number for our favorite brand, and then look at the other brands that we don't recognize. And if it's the same plant number, I would tell you 99% of the time it's the same tequila, but a lot less expensive.
So there's a good chance that if there's a really upper tier, top shelf brand of tequila that has the little government number on the bottle, and then you find a lower price brand with the same number, there's a good chance that's the same tequila, but you're just paying a lot less. Are they just selling? Is the top tier just selling off their leftovers?
No, keep in mind with any food production, I don't care whether it's a meat plant or a tequila plant, they have excess production. So what they're doing is they're private labeling for other people, for other brands. But again, keep in mind that there's Blanco, which is unaged. There's Añejo, which is super aged. There's Reposado, which is in the middle of that. So, you've got to compare Blanco to Blanco, Reposado to Reposado, Añejo to Añejo. And now some of the tequilas, some of the Añejo tequilas, they're going for like $1,000 a bottle because they're aged in bourbon cask. They're aged for 2 or 3 or 5 years and things like that. That's why I'm a Blanco tequila person.
So no aging, just the white tequila. That's the one you're drinking, the Blanco. For some reason, exactly. I thought you were not that it sounds like I'm cursing you out. I thought you were a real Añejo guy. So excuse me for that, Phil.
I have Añejo once in a while, but Añejo is more like a brandy, more like after dinner drink. But if you want a great tequila while you're eating, my preference is just Blanco, not even in a margarita. Just have it chilled and up so it doesn't interfere with the food.
That's a beautiful thing. His name is Phil Lempert. He is the supermarket guru. His website is great. And I love your Substack, Phil, because I feel like I'm sitting in the room talking to you about stuff. And you cover the entire food spectrum from fast food to good food. What's up? You got something to add?
If we have one more second, one thing that I just wrote about, and you talked about cannabis. Now San Francisco has approved cannabis dispensaries who can serve food. So this is a whole new trend, a whole new competitor to restaurants, to grocerants and supermarkets. So look for, if it's successful in San Francisco, and I think it will be, look for this whole cannabis restaurant trend to really expand.
This is interesting, Phil, and there's a whole line of comedy that will be attached to it, too, because I have memories of getting really hungry in college after I walked through a room of marijuana smoke. So I'm sure that the fast food industry will take note of this as well as you go to the Doritos Cafe after a night of partaking. Wow, really, get the details on that. It's on Phil's website, supermarketguru.com. Great stuff. My friend, thank you so much for making time. It is a pleasure. It's been too long. Hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you, Mike. Anytime. It's always a pleasure. And keep up the good work to let consumers know what's going on.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. And there he goes. Wow. Really interesting. You did not know that about the little number on the tequila, did you, DeSantis?
I did not. That was news to me. That was a great interview. We have to have him on more regularly.
He is as somebody in the YouTube chat said, he's like the most interesting man alive. He is. And I met him because we wanted to do a segment about coffee on the old Whoopi show from, 20 years ago. Jesus. Before you were even a sentient being. But, yeah, he knows everything about everything in food. And the food world comes to him because his little website is generating all sorts of stuff. And I told Stalker I was going to do a segment on tequila after he was talking about this morning. So, Gregory, if you're listening, I hope you got some tips. He is a big-time tequila consumer. But when you're in the store, look at a tequila bottle. I think it's a 4-digit number, and that's the plant where they make it. It's government-run. But look at the upper end. I used to go into fine wine and good spirits, and I'd bring a notebook in with me, and I'd look at all the really expensive tequilas and write down numbers. And then I'd go over and look at the cheap ones and see if any of the cheap ones matched it. Good stuff. We have to make room for Zioli. Is that what's happening here, DeSantis?
Yeah, that is correct.
Well, that's going to do it for me this week. Don't forget, Zioli and DeSantis and Justin are going to be live at the Grand Hotel in Cape May on Friday. It's old school Friday Zioli show madness, so you should be there if you can. I don't know if I can be, but I will do my darndest. And next week, I'm back Tuesday through Friday. So we will have more fun and a whole bunch of stuff to get to as well. I thank you for being here. I thank you, Matthew. I thank you, Justin, all of you who joined and played along today. Thank you. I even saw Susie Cool was in the YouTube chat room. A bunch of my old friends. I appreciate you. Till next time, it's Mike Opelka reminding you, enjoy every sandwich. And testudo, my friends. Testudo.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally